Away we go. Okay, how is everyone? Are we getting going? How do I sound? Make sure the sound's okay. And switching scenes. But hope I clicked on the right thing. Switching scenes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this lovely AI generated image. Well, today, obviously, we have yeah, when the drugs kick in. Yeah. So obviously I'm late. As usual. I didn't bother changing the time today because I knew no matter what was gonna happen, I was never gonna be on time. It's me. Let's be real. So yeah. Hello everyone. Today we are talking about the Russian sleep experiment. Now the Russian sleep experiment is obviously a creepypasta. A creepypasta, you know, from the height of the internet, the golden age of the internet that we know as 2010 or the 2010s. I really should have sorted this mat out before I went live. Oh well, we'll sort that out in a bit. But yeah, so recently some good old Aidan Mattis was having a war with the flat Earth community over on the Twatters or X, as Elon Musk is desperate for it to be a porn site, evidently. But yes, so Elon Musk was desperate for it to get some views. I lost sleep. Yes, same. There's actually a lot of irony from you losing sleep from the Russian sleep experiment. There's a lot of irony of you losing sleep from the Russian sleep experiment. But yes, the flat Earth community somehow believed that the Russian sleep experiment actually happened. And I asked over on YouTube if you guys would like to see me react to the Russian sleep experiment as a story. Why is my that's why there's a hair on my sensor. There we go. Would you like me to react to the Russian sleep experiment story? And you guys said yes. In fact, if we go over to view your channel over on YouTube, right? It looks like, anyway, move the TikTok live box. I wish YouTube TikTok would just let me stream straight out of OBS instead of like, you must use our platform. It looks like regular night spooning. Well, hey, as a Spoons regular, I can guarantee I have looked like that on many an occasion. Pushed the wrong button. But yeah, when I put it to a vote, 48 people voted and 92% of you said you wanted me to look at the Russian sleep experiment story. So we're going to look at what the flat earthers directly are saying, and then we'll get on to the actual story, the original video I watched, because I never read the creepypastas. I was one of those kids. Yeah.
I was forced to stay awake for 30 days straight. They call it
I don't remember the Russian sleep experiment being there. You know,
the Russian sleep experiment. They put 5 of us into a room and released a gas that made it impossible to go to sleep. We were all captured war prisoners. They were studying us to see what would happen to a human if they stay awake for 30 days. Day 1, everything seemed fine. We were promised freedom after we completed the experiment. But as the days went by, our conversations...
I love that this is presented as absolute fact. Yeah, the Russian sleep, I've not got the actual image that was pushed when the actual Russian sleep experiment story first came out, because that did give me some horrific nightmares. I should have muted my phone. That made me feel uncomfortable as a child. But yeah, if you are just joining, obviously the tagline says it, the flat earthers believe that the Russian sleep experiment really happened. Bearing in mind, I will react and I will go in on the flat earthers, but I'm going to do that. That's saving for 10,000 subscribers. So when we hit 10,000 subscribers, I will do a live stream on flat earth, and I'll probably try and get a panel in. I'll probably try and get Aiden and Count Daedalus together for that. It's not like I've been trying to get them together on a live stream for years. You got put on a while back, lol, doing homework.
grew darker. Paranoia took hold, tearing us apart. On day 9, one of us started screaming
That AI-generated image is horrific.
uncontrollably until his vocal cords gave out.
Fun fact, you die after like day 6 of sleep deprivation, I'm fairly certain.
The rest of smeared our own feces over the glass so they couldn't see us. On the 15th day, they needed to know what was happening. They turned off the gas and opened the doors. They were not ready for the horrific scene they were about to walk into, flesh torn. We consumed our own bodies, desperate to stay awake. We didn't want to leave anymore. We begged them to turn the gas back.
Hello, XYX. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen you in the lives. I mean, I'm no conspiracy man, but it's something that I do. Yeah, gas, new law alert.
Back on. But they refused to help us. Somehow we were able to survive all this, but we knew it would be the end when we fell asleep. Remember us, remember our torment.
Okay, right, so, very incorrect from what I had started. So let's check out this Flat Earther account, shall we? A conspiracy realist posting content on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble. All links below. Support me at Buy Me a Coffee. The Flat Earthers have coffee merch. No! People I follow these? Who? Savannah Hernandez! I thought you were smart on this. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. A couple of hardcore. Hang on. Tic Tac. The old god of... If you're British, you know who this man is. He's a Flat Earther? Wow, okay. Okay, I'm hoping some of these people are following them ironically, rather, like for memes. Community jokes says, oh right, so they're mad at community notes. Okay, this perfect straight line for this massive rock is natural. Yes, that does happen naturally. In fact, if you look, there's like curves on it where it's broken off. I also want to ask, what? If I'm assuming it's giants, they normally go for giants or Nephilim. If it's like the Nephilim, what purpose does the Nephilim have to run up to a rock and go, I'm going to cut a perfect straight line? Like, you can clearly see it's been eroded. There was probably water here at the... You can see the marks where the water was at one point. So there's probably been water around this at some point. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a stream, because you can literally see the curvature in some of it. And again, curvature is there, like, you know... More conspiracy theory, yes, because every time I did, like... Hey, wait, have I got the poll up? Look, Freya, look. 48 votes. 92% of people. So basically, on Twitter, if you the Flat Earthers have been at it, and they decided that the Russian sleep experiment, the old creepypasta, really happened. So today we're looking at how, like, you know, realistic that is. I think at this point I should stop putting these polls up because people clearly enjoy my torment. Nothing will be better than the Ancient Apocalypse one, because I got genuine hate for that one. I got genuine hate for saying that Graham Hancock was a Nepo daddy, if you think. I'm History Daddy, he's Nepo daddy, because his son got him in that documentary on Netflix. You can look that up. Yeah, apparently I'm I'm a conformist sellout because I disagree with Graham Hancock. I'm so upset about that. The Twitter got mad at me for that. The reason why it's so realistic to me, because I would not put it past Russia to do this. Wouldn't put it past the Soviets or the Austrian Painters fan club to try and do something like this. But I'm fairly certain you die after like 4 or 5 days without sleep. Rage baiting. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, to all of the conspiracy theorists who are watching these lives on both TikTok and YouTube, when you leave me an angry comment, even if you dislike the video on YouTube, it counts as engagement. And that's why I continually agree to say yes to doing these conspiracies, because whenever I debunk one of them, you get mad. And the moon landing bros were really upset. Really upset that the you know, the definite moon landing didn't happen. Conspiracy. It is funny to me. Well, after a while, I think I'm slowly going mad, because I do laugh at them more and more. A bar bet with the buds. That's why. I wonder how long I could actually... No, I'm not doing a live stream where I try and stay awake as physically long as possible. That is how I unalive. Already taken care of. The pilot soars above the local sun, gliding through the clouds. What? I mean, aside from the fact the clouds look slightly AI, but I need... He's not flying over it, for one. It's still in the distance. And two, just do you can debunk this. You can debunk this with science and geography that they teach you at the age of fucking 5. Xi Jinping was the inspiration for Winnie the Pooh. I got called racist for calling Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh once. Angry comment from Trip Smoke Fairy Tales, whose newest book comes out in March. You should go and buy it. It's also his 11th book is already out. So the Smoke Fairy Tales stuff is finishing, and the audiobooks are coming out. And I'm not sure how much I can say about the coming audiobooks, so I'm being very careful what I say. But I know things. Secrets that should never be told. Knowledge that should never be spoken. In the gym currently, we will listen to you in podcast format. That's very good. To be fair, most of this is going to be audio, which is what I try and do. I was actually looking into getting it all on Spotify, but given what Spotify has done to indie authors, I say this professionally, fuck your mum. To all of the producers at Spotify, for what you've done to indie authors. Time for Muggety and Craft Project. Sorry for the vulgar language to everyone. Spotify has just really annoyed me. How they if you didn't notice, they're basically doing dodgy contracts where they own indie authors' work forever. Yeah, that's the only. Wait, are we over 15? Oh, we're not over 15 minutes in. It's not like this is getting monetized, anyways. Right, let's keep scrolling along down the Flat Earthers feed, and then we will get into the Russian sleep experiment. That is 100% realistic. History. I think you're called racist for other reasons. Here's a list of things I've been called. In the same TikTok, I was called a communist and an Austrian painter's fan. I've been called woke. I've been called a fascist. I've been called a Democrat and a Republican, even though I'm British. I've been called a Tory and a Liberal Democrat. I don't know why these insults come up. What's wrong with Spotify? So basically, from watching Trip, and there's a British guy I follow as well who's talking about it. So Spotify has decided that if you publish your audiobook on the Spotify platform, where it's the only viable place to make money outside of Audible, and it's easier to get your Spotify audiobook up in segments than it is, say, YouTube, because YouTube is hard. You can't make money unless you have a certain amount of subscribers, a certain amount of watch hours, yada yada yada. Spotify, I believe, to my knowledge, don't quote me on this, you can start making money immediately. Spotify now owns it. The second you upload an audiobook to Spotify, they own that, which means that they can commission spin-offs from other authors. They can redistribute and alter your work and not pay you. So you're essentially, by putting your stuff on Spotify, you are giving them the rights to your work. Yeah. But everyone knew Spotify was shady after they paid Rogan a load of money because he had a popular podcast, and then went, whatever you feel about Rogan, he's a brilliant interviewer. He's not the smartest guy on the block. He's a brilliant interviewer. I like him because, much like myself, if a flat earther is willing to come on, I will have them on, and I will politely discuss things with them, and I will have their point of view. But they also have to accept I'm probably going to get someone like Count Daedalus or Aidan Mattis on at the same time. As I've said, I would love to have a panel on. Not that I've been planning this for about a year, where with Aidan Mattis and Count Daedalus, and have them discuss something like this. And I feel like Flat Earth is a topic they both have, because one is very history based and can actually debunk the fact that for most of our history we believed it was a globe and it wasn't actually Christianity that pushed the flat stuff, because there's nothing in the Bible to say it's flat. And it's also of Count Daedalus, obviously, spaceman. Count Daedalus is actually an alien. Didn't know that. In fact, he loves the song Wonderwall. So if you ever want to make sure he's feeling happy, make sure you send him that on Instagram. He just loves clips of Wonderwall. There you go. They take you for idiots, and I'm gonna say this like Alex Jones, because Alex Jones is actually makes these people sound. Wait. Area 52. That's a clip from Doctor Who. That pyramid is from Doctor Who. That's the Matt Smith, because that's one of my favourite storylines of where that like River loves him that much she alters the entire Area 52. That is from Doctor Who in the wow. Okay, wait, here we go. They take you for idiots, and you don't even know it. Real history has long been rewritten. Only our ancestors know it. Antarctica stands as the sole continent inaccessible to ordinary individuals, all due to global authority sealing a barrier that shelters undisclosed civilizations. Here we go. Dinosaurs supposedly went extinct after a meteorite fell, but 98% of their skeletons are preserved in perfect condition. The White Rabbit channel, that sounds really, really fascist. The White Rabbit channel writes about true history and covers the shows that went on in the world. Take the nonsense they're telling us and join now. Is that a Telegram link? It's a Telegram link, isn't it? Should I get a Telegram page? People keep telling me to get a Facebook page, but I'm unsure on that. Have I got any earnings from views and subscribers? No, yeah, I don't have the watch hours. I literally need like 1,500 more watch hours, and I can start getting. If I get 500 more watch hours, I can start taking super chats from this show, and that means like at the moment, the main videos, if you hadn't noticed, are basically on hold. I've more become a live stream channel, and because I can focus on this every Sunday. I can pick the topic and I can go into it, and I can give you my raw thoughts. The videos are taking much longer. I've got 2 videos in the wings. I've got historic cinema based on the film The Whale, which stars Brendan Fraser, and like how I feel like I really dive into that using my film studies degree, or film and television, sorry. And I've got one on the Selkies, which is still like mostly research. It's like 98% research, and I'm hoping to get them out at some point. But I'm just last few months, personal stuff's gone on, but I'm hopefully in a better position to start in my free time. The flow will still be a lot less. The live streams will be a lot more regular. But yeah, for me to be able to get super chats, I'm like 500 watch hours away. If you do want to help me, the best thing to do is to like, comment on each, like not just in the live chat, but comment underneath. And that because it boosts it in the algorithm, and then obviously just have the stuff on repeat. It doesn't matter if you watch it or not, because it just gets the watch hours up, and then I can get the super chats, and then I can start actually producing and earning from it. TikTok I earn a small amount, but as you can tell, TikTok doesn't like me talking about this stuff. Anyway, let me try something out. This worked last time I did it. I love the CCP. China #1. Taiwan doesn't exist. There we go. And immediately, my TikTok feed just flashed up with more people joining. Brilliant. Oh, let's read some of the comments, because like I've inspired some people already. It's inspired some people, got some people talking. You can say whatever you want. You're not spelling out for spoiling anything for my audience. That's true. I think we've got some follower crossover. No, I didn't know if I'm allowed to say who's in your upcoming audiobook trip. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if you're talking about, like, I don't know if you've announced the actors and stuff. What's wrong with Spotify are becoming core pop? So yeah, pretty much. And the longest someone has been awake for is 11 days. It was in 1963, and the kid was fine after sleeping. A BBC episode of Witness called The Boy Who Stayed Awake for 11 Days covered it. Interesting. I shall have to look that up. China #1, Hong Kong #4. I'd love to see a live stream where it's you, Mattis, and Milo. I don't know if I could get Milo. I've tried to get Shadowversity on before, but he ignored me. I might just take a plunge and like when I unprivate my Twitter, I'll probably at the moment my Twitter is very private. Mark Twain. Wait, oh no, why is he tweeting? It's easier to fool people to convince them that they have been fooled. Do they not get the irony of that quote? Do they not get the irony that it's really hard to convince a flat earther that it... Oh, never mind. Right, yeah. Okay. Good morning to all you unvaxxed flat earth legends. How are those... Okay, how are those two things? I just uploaded the top 20 proofs the Earth is not a spinning globe. I might have to dissect their... Okay, right, guys. If I hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of March, I will deep dive into flat Earth. Right. Without further ado, let's actually look at the Russian sleep experiment. This is the actual creepy McPasta. Why not? I should probably subscribe. My rule is if I use their video, I subscribe unless they're absolutely unhinged. I'll watch everything with you and Mattis. Add anyone else you want, or just the channels. Fair enough. Yeah, Mattis and I have done some really good shows before. I really want to do a deep dive. I really want to do. I've got a few different guests for. I was going to do a massive religious panel, and I think it's just going to blow out because I won't be able to ask direct questions. I've currently got a Norse pagan, a Hindu, a um a former Calvinist or is Calvinist. I spoke to him recently, and I wasn't sure if he's switched to different sects. An Anglican, and I think a couple Baptists, who I want to have on, but I want to dive into those religious sects individually, yeah, so I can actually ask direct questions. Have you thought about collaborating with Atten Shy or something for American history related? Who's Atten Shy? Let me have a look. Are they a Rumbly person or a YouTubey person? Atten Shy? See, there's a reason I have a specific Atten Shay Films 381. Oh, him! The geezer who does like the Civil War people. Like, we will the South shall rise again. That's gonna get clipped. Actually, to be fair, every time I say that's gonna get clipped, it never does get clipped. So I'm not really that nervous anymore. I think you guys are quite good. Yeah. I think he could be an interesting one. He's had some interesting videos. I used to watch him a lot years ago. I am subscribed to him on my personal channel. Yeah, I used to watch him a lot when I was younger. I don't know why I stopped. Because he I fell into the it states rights argument when I was about 13 because I had no understanding, and then I watched his videos and I was like, oh well, no. The South was just racist. The South was just slave-holding racists. Which is why, if you ever jump into my comments and you want to argue that the South had a point in the Civil War, I just say, states' rights to what? States' rights to what? Wait, what am I never doing again? What am I never doing? Are you slightly behind? Was this? His Civil War skits takes rather me his Puritan nut job impression is far more entertaining. I vaguely recommend the Puritan one. He also does a very good Nazi impression. He has not uploaded that often actually. 7 days ago, that's not too bad. I think he took a little bit break because Cinema is dead yet. I agree with that. Cinema is on the way out. And streaming didn't kill it. I'm not going to get into that. People are going to start thinking I'm a COVID conspiracy theorist. Which is annoying. It's annoying that you can't really talk about the economic side effects of locking down in the entire world when you could have easily just shut your border. Oh, the southern accent? I can do a southern accent. Wait, hang on. Gentlemen, you had my attention. Now you have my interest. Or is it the other way around? We're in Candyland! That's my entire impression of the South is Django Unchained, which is the best Quentin Tarantino movie. If you're mighty high, mighty fine, I will do the Southern accent. And if Boston's harder, I'm from Boston. I want Boston on my sandwich harder, which I based very heavily on the accent that Ted does. I don't know why I've gone oil. Oh fuck. Wait, in what accent? It's really hard to say that in American accent. You need more drawl. Well, I can do that for California, y'all. Like, I'm really good at California accent. Wait, I somehow have gone into some kind of Southern dialect, but like Californian is such a unique accent. You just have to sort of lose your brain cells when you tilt your head. Like, Californian is just a really strong accent. Yeah, I'm offending the entirety of You can always talk like you're from Liverpool if you want to offend the British accent. I don't know why I put Z in there and not German. Yeah, Django Unchained is the best Tarantino movie. I just realised I think Django Unchained is the only one where you don't see a woman's feet. I'm not good. I'm not putting that into. I don't. I don't care. I don't care how many of you ask. I'm not putting that into my search history. You see, the north had coronavirus, and the south was trying to social distance. And no crack pipe growing up. Your Boston sounds Australian. Harder. My Australian's actually very hard. It's basically based on watching Stephen Irwin a lot from when I was younger. And if you want to talk about a bit more Kiwi, you basically just do the Australian accent but a lot softer. You basically just make it sound like you got kicked in the balls repeatedly as a child. Check Discord for proper pronunciation of oil or oil in the south. I can't. French, if French is like this, this is French. This is French. My Scouse accent is completely different to my French accent. Oui, oui, bonjour. I'm not going to do Scottish because I have, I don't want to die. Right, let's get into, wait, we're going half an hour and we haven't even started, on the actual, the highlight of this.
In the saddle who called the others just passengers on a horse. The old man tells them what old men who can ride can do to beat Hitler.
Russian city after the other was overrun by the invaders.
Really hope this footage isn't copyrighted.
By summer of 1942, new posters were appearing in the streets of Moscow. Posters that greeted.
I don't remember the Russian sleep experiment being this directly intertwined with World War II. I thought it was more of a Cold War story.
Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days.
By the way, I don't have this.
Using an
I don't. Did he say 50 days? Interesting. This is Creepy McPasta. He is the OG Creepy Pasta guy. So yeah, I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. Sorry about the how do you pronounce Calilope? Sleeping is one of my favourite creepypastas, but that's all it is. Exactly! But then again, it doesn't surprise me that the Flat Earth community has taken that to be literal. I want someone to give me a conspiracy that I actually watch and I kind of believe. Immediately, someone's going to just start sending me 9/11 stuff. It's the way it always goes. Immediately, if you ask someone, what's a conspiracy you kind of genuinely believe, it's all 9/11 stuff. It's all 9/11 stuff. And that's because the government is shady. It's very, very shady. This is ASMR now. This is all going to haunt your nightmares forever. That was always World War II. Interesting. I might have listened to it, or maybe it's just over the years. It's been a long time since I've actually listened to the story. I was actually in a student adaptation in student film fashions. One of my friends did adapt the Russian sleep experiment. It's actually really good for how low budget it is. 7-Eleven was a part-time job. Oh no. There was a foot on Django. One when Brumhilda is getting out of the hot box stand. Brumhilda is laying on the bed when Django finally rescues her. I mean, that's for a Tarantino film. That's still very brief. That's still very, very brief. Also, I might do a drunk accent challenge one day. It's considered. Apparently, both the chats like the accents. Right.
Was already arriving in Russian ports.
Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days.
15.
Using an
So, given that this is the original story, the Flat Earthers have got the
experimental
already.
gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they only...
So the toxic gas was used to keep them awake. Calilope, that's how you say it. Calilope. This is like Massachusetts. You have some weird name. But Americans will be saying they're like, Worcestershire is Worcestershire. It's Edinburgh. Shropshire. Devon. Colchester. Like, and she's like, we've got to add the iron. And it's aluminium.
He had microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding.
Do you know what's funny? I was originally going to put portholes in the thumbnail. The thumbnail was all AI generated. No, the OpenAI have released like fully AI video recently. You probably need a supercomputer to generate that at the moment, and I need to upgrade my RAM because my RAM is that old that I need to upgrade it to 16 gigabytes, which is still incredibly old, but it's enough for me to plod along and edit for a while. Yeah, Django Unchained is one of the best movies. Sorry.
Running water and toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days.
To be fair, being deemed enemy of the state in Soviet Russia could mean literally anything. What is that, comrade? You don't like how Stalin grooms his mustache? To the gulag with you. That was awful.
Subjects
that was awful watching accent. This is better when I put in the effort. So why did we lock people into a cell for the Russian sleep experiment? Well, the story starts in 867.
Hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted.
That's a peace symbol from East Asia. TikTok, please don't ban my live.
That they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones, and one way...
Wait, you sent a video on Discord. Are my mods sending me instructions on how to pronounce American words? You don't eat potato straight to the gulag. Exactly. A bit like alien reptile stuff, but actually believable. I don't see how 15 days. Let's just carry on.
Mirror
I
portals.
can't see this.
Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce...
The thing is, right, we're 2 minutes 36 in. Right, okay. The issue I have is you're going to start to hallucinate and lose your mind a lot earlier. Obviously, understanding the context of the story, the gas is confusing them and making them, like, you know, go doolally and stuff. If you believe this, though, if you believe this genuinely happened, because they're shit, not because they're good. Hey, my friends told me I'm good at accents. We were all drunk at the time, but, you know, I value their opinion over yours because they gave me positive feedback. I was referring to previous messages, not today's funny pasta. Oh, fair enough. Apologies. Where was I? Train of thought. Keep the train of thought going, Ryan. That was it. Right. So the way it's told, it's like, earlier I actually saw a video on the Challenger 12 disaster, I believe it was. I think it was Challenger 12 that exploded. And the way that story is lined out, it's very facts based. There is emotion to it, like because when storytellers come along and we take facts, we add emotion to it. If you've watched literally any of my videos, I'm taking historical fact and I'm translating them for the regular person so they can see it. And because I'm a storyteller, which is the oldest trade in human like tradition, like alongside hunters, like storytelling is a very old tradition. It's how we convey information. This is skipping over parts, like someone's written a fan fiction. Like it's 15 minutes. There's still like 13 minutes of this video left. We're already, or 12 and a half minutes. We're already at a point where this story is jumping so heavily and people are starting to scream and lose their mind. But that's not how. It's Discord members only. I don't have a personal Discord. They're DMing me on Discord. I am in the Law Lodge Discord. I'm also in Count's Discord, but the Count's Discord is invite only, and you have to message Count Daedalus directly to get access to that. So I don't actually have a Discord. I haven't really thought about it because I like until the lives, like people, like, I'm getting a lot more interaction from my live streams than I ever did from my YouTube videos. Which is funny considering YouTube's not meant to be a good live stream platform, but my channel growth has actually been a lot better since I've started moving more over to live streams. Hunters, gatherers, storytellers, and prosies. I don't think prostitution was actually as old as we've made out. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know how old. A lot of people say like prosies were the oldest profession, but I feel like storytellers were first. And there's probably a bit of an overlap between storyteller and prosy. Fun fact, a lot of rich women in Rome like to become prostitutes because they crave the adventure, proving that the rich elites will always do the jobs poor people are forced to do for fun. Also goes to show that the more a society becomes a bit more degenerate, closer to collapses. Moving on!
Produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about his behaviour is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The two non-screaming captives took the books apart, smearing page after page of their own feces and pasted them calmly on the glass portholes. The screaming
brings a whole new meaning to a paper mache project.
Promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones.
Monkeys do it, so I'm pretty sure it's very old. See, that's the reason I would say against the idea that prostitution is one of the oldest jobs, because if you look at the behaviour of bonobos per se, bonobos settle arguments through sex. So bonobos will share partners and like, but you also like the Australopithecus. We believe earlier Australopithecus behaviour, as long as this hasn't been updated, because it's been a while since I looked into this. Which is I do want to start doing videos on ancient animals because I'm always obsessed with dinosaurs and particularly early mammals. I have everything from Walking with Monsters, Walking with Dinosaurs, Ballad of Big Owl, the specials, Walking with Beasts, Prehistoric Park, Walking with Man, Walking with Caveman. Sorry, and I have them all in book form. Also, I have the Sea Monsters. I have the Sea Monsters on DVD somewhere as well. I think they're in the Walking with Dinosaurs special box. I really wish we got a season 2 for Sea Monsters. What's Nigel Marvin doing now? You got Eaten in Primeval. I've got the DVD for Primeval season 2 somewhere. I don't know. I haven't got season 1. But yeah, where was I? But yeah, so like it would be like the most dominant male gets the most females and stuff like that. Very similar to what gorillas do. Warfare is actually very intertwined. Ants do it, chimps do it, zebras do it, lions do it. So warfare and building a kingdom is actually very professional. Monarchies are also very much natural and intertwined. The only system that isn't is democracy. It's okay. Democracies very rarely fail. I have so many YouTubers I can recommend for you on old animals. I probably watch a lot of them and Mythological. This is pretty scary. King, don't be too scared. I'm gonna be very open with this. So, like, again, on my YouTube videos, when I've done like the Amphiolathmore and stuff, when it's mythological or cryptozoological or folklore, I like to leave it up to the audience. I'll provide you with the evidence, provide you with the stories, and I'll provide you with the evidence against and the stories against. Crows are actually very intelligent. If you there's stories of where people have like treated crows well and fed them and been like the only house to when everyone else has a go at them, and then they've lost stuff in the park and then it's like been dropped at their front door. It's also, there's Slavic myths of the Leshy bringing stuff out of the woods if you treat nature kindly. Like, she lost her phone in the woods, she dropped it, she like gave a sacrifice, and then the Leshy brought it back. I know Scottish people who are very much on, and Icelandic people who very much believe in the Fae and stuff. It was actually walking along that of realising I did believe in a lot of the supernatural side with the Fae, a lot of the Celtic folklore. Actually was that and preachers like Chris and friends. Whose name is Chris? I think so. Yeah. And friends of as well, that made me actually go back to Christ, which is a very long story, but I don't like to do like preach the whole religion stuff. It's much like the politics. I like to keep my channel politics free, and I like to keep this. But anyways, with that normal stuff, I like to leave it up to the audience to decide. A lot of you may have noticed a pattern when I'm debunking these. I'm very much against it from the outset, because there's no way this is real. It's a story that originated on creepypasta. That, you know what, we're going to start seeing. I will put 50 quid on this against myself. I'm not losing any money in either way. That at some point you are going to see flat earthers say that the SCP Foundation is real. At some point. Crows are brilliant. They're overrated. Jackdaws are evil. Once I cut my hair and got some better clothes, I might start content creation for a hobby. Yeah, I do it as a hobby. So if my mistake was going straight on the career end. I do have now, I'm actually an editor for another YouTube channel, which I'm not going to say out loud because I know I do have a set of haters. Graham Hancock's fan club. The Graham Hancock fan club especially would 100% try and get me sacked. So I'm very careful. I don't mind getting cancelled. I just don't want falling back and ruining my life. Yeah, no, like, I have found employment stuff, which allows me to go back to doing it as a hobby, which means it will be less stress and I won't, like, be pressed to do stuff. I'm also going to be doing, like, hour-long videos instead of, like, putting them into parts. So I feel like if I drop 4 or 5 videos a year that are and I'm happy with how they look, I would rather do that than the bi-weekly content I was doing. Because I've got live stream now, I can still talk to you guys on a weekly basis, so that'll always be there. The videos themselves will be a lot rarer, purely because I will be working now, and I've obviously, got life outside of YouTube, and I don't. Whereas it was, I'm not gonna lie, the reason there was no videos in January, was one, I was like job hunting, but I burnt out. I honestly burnt out creating content. So to anyone, I would say create content as a hobby. Don't be obsessed with posting on that weekly schedule, because the likelihood that you're going to blow up and hit 100k in 6 months, which is what you need to make it viable. You have 6 months to make it viable. I would say most people post it as a hobby alongside your work, because the content you produce will be better, and the likelihood that at some point the algorithm picks that up. There are people who have worked for 12 years, like they have worked at their content for 12 years, and it's not blown up since before the last 2. Yeah. Like Lindy Page, I don't know how many of you watched Lindy Page. He'd made content, I believe now, when he did a video on it, he'd been working on it for 5 years. And he said it took 5 years before his work picked up. And he uploads as a hobby. He also does all of his videos in one take, which is very, very impressive. Thank you for the shares over on TikTok, American. Hello, Lily. Hello. We're just debunking the Russian, because the flat Earth community has decided the Russian sleep experiment is real, so we're just debunking that for them. It's a bit of a stretch. Even the flatties aren't that stupid. This is Andre. We looked at the TikTok account for the flat earthers. This is why this is the content we're doing today, because the flat Earth community is being prattling on about how this actually happened. Long form content is huge on YouTube right now. Exactly, you've got to go over the hour. In fact, my Yawl video is probably one of the better performing videos I've done. You have to go over the hour now on TikTok. The meta used to be 5-minute videos, then 10, and now it's hour. Mauler does like 3-hour long videos. I think his Doctor Strange, like the video he did on Doctor Strange, is 8 hours long. I love how I go on tangents on these. I saw a video that explained Russian sleep experiment thing on YouTube called Mr. Ballin. Yes, Ballin is brilliant. He's done a lot of stuff with Aidan Mattis. I haven't actually watched that many Ballin videos. People are gonna get mad at me for that. People always get mad at you if you don't watch, like when you're talking about other content creators, they get mad if you haven't watched theirs. I don't know why. I think it's like, I don't know, because humans need tribal mentality. So I think one of the reasons you have the flat earth stuff in societies is people really need to belong to a tribe, and in the West especially, we've got no wars to fight, we've got no real issues, and people will say, oh yeah, we have a lot of issues. We do. We argue about them because it puts us into a tribal set, because humans are meant to be in small, close-knit communities. That's how our brain functions, and we've got hundreds of thousands of people at our disposal at all times. Which is just how the world governments wants it, because, you know, there was a story recently of a local community fixing a wall and the council got mad at them and asked them to tear it down, and they said no, because they don't want close-knit communities. But that's how your brain's wired. You're meant to have, and that's why you'll find, which is also why I really push for my friend groups, for them to have diversity of thought, because that's what you need, because those small, close-knit groups don't all agree on everything 100%. It's why we also look back at like medieval Europe as being aggressively racist, or then they try and rewrite that and go, no, everyone loved everyone, when in actuality, the whole reasoning behind that, if you live in a village in like rural England, and then some random geezer comes along, it doesn't matter if he could look like the spitting image of your, like, you could look like your twin brother, you're still going to be suspect of him because he's outside of close-knit community spirit. And that's, you know, we need a median in between that. We need, like, where people can form the tribe, because tribalism comes from people looking for their tribe. There's nothing wrong with having a tribe. It goes back to the Graham Hancock thing. It's okay to ask questions, just be ready to accept answers that don't agree with your worldview, which is something I've had to learn, something I still struggle with, which is I understand. Does it still mean that the people who believe in Graham Hancock stuff are stupid? Yeah.
After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption of the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very high level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the...
They're very, very quietly having a tug. Hello, looks identical means doppelganger. True. Yeah, I probably should have worded a different example for that. Probably should have had. Probably should have thought of a different one. If someone looked exactly like you and they turned up in your village, you're probably going to freak out. I see Lily got my joke there. But hey, they're strenuously exercising just quietly. This is the only thing I can think of they could do quietly. Can you imagine they just come out of the chamber and the scientists are like, hey, what have you been up to? And just checking out some of that internet porn.
14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives they were afraid were
being alone, a hermit without a tribe. That's what I'm saying. You need to have a balance between having a tribe and being tribal. It's tribalism, okay. Say you're completely against the tribunal era of Doctor Who, right? And new Russell T Davies stuff comes along. You hate it. You really cannot stand that Russell T Davies didn't fix it to the way you want. If you can't accept that other people do like it, that's tribalism. Saying you don't like it, voicing your opinion and accepting other people do like it, that's tribal. So you're still in your tribe, you're still saying, I don't like the direction Doctor Who's in now, you do you. And then if the other person comes and goes, oh no, and you're, like, and they get mad at you for that, then they're being tribal. If they go, okay, cool, fine, I like it, you don't, that's tribal. Tribalism is bad. Having a tribe is good.
Either dead or vegetable.
Because if you're alone, you can, you know, someone had sat a certain. Someone sat Ted Kaczynski down and said, maybe don't mail those bombs because you've got some good ideas here, but like you don't need to like. But then again, that's what happens when the CIA pokes around in your brain. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's what they did to Ted Kaczynski.
They announced, "We are opening the
Manson as well.
chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in a calm voice respond, "We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers
when you spend too long with the German dungeon mysteries.
and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided.
I'm sorry, but also, like, I know I'm making these jokes. 100%, if you took this out of context, tell me it doesn't sound like the opening of a really, really, really weird porn. Like, I'm half expecting, like, I know what's going to happen, but, like, if you said that in the next minute they open up the chamber and, like, they're all tied up, like, I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe that's why the flat
Decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day.
This planet's our only home, but we're not treating it that way. Greenwashing speeches and pledges are simply not enough. We can't save the planet by being shy about it. So we're going.
Bye.
The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened, and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meats from the dead test subjects' thighs and chest stuffed into the drains in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined.
Wait, so they're just pouring water on the floor? Or is the water just a mixture? Obviously there's blood in it, that's what you said. But so, does that mean that the water is... They flooded the cell with their pee. Do you know people can get allergic to capsaicin? Just found out. I really hope that you found out by Google and not accidentally found out you're allergic to capsaicin. Probably mispronouncing that. The men couldn't sleep, so they found comfort in one another. Literally, it sounds like the start to a really, really weird porn. It sounds like the type of thing that your mate sits there in the middle of the night drunk, goes, "Hey, I saw this video the other day. It's like really weird," and then like they show it to you, and it's 100% something that they're into, and they just want, you know, someone to accept that, and then you're just staring there like, 4 inches, can 12 pints of blood even get high? Exactly, which means the liquids are coming from somewhere else. They're either actively spilling water, they're either active. That's cool beans, yeah. Travel safe. But they're either actively spilling water or urinating and mixing it with blood. Story's weird. There's a lot of weirdness in this story. It's less scary. More creation is chemical and spicy peppers, and I found out by looking it up. But makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I like the fact that plants evolved being spicy as a protection against things eating them, and then humans ate it and went, "Wow, let's make it even spicier." People could be allergic just about anything. I'm allergic to ginger and every part of the special lettuce that I can't say because YouTube and TikTok get mad at me, and hemp plants among other things. One of my friends actually allergic to like pine trees. I'm allergic to orange squash, so if I ever become a superhero and or Batman needs for some reason to have a contingent against me, just use orange squash.
All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscles and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth as researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angle of the wounds indicated that
the wounds were inflicted by their hands. This is really good. Like, maybe this is why the flat earthers were so into it. This is how they're like, the government's trying to cover up the word porn dungeon. What's orange squash? It's like a lick. It's like how do I describe squash to an American? It's like an orange flavored liquid that you pour into a cup and then you add water to it. And then you drink it. Hang on. The devil's lettuce. Yeah, I said special lettuce because I didn't I'm being so careful because TikTok is really like they age restricted me and Trip the other day for when we did our. But this is orange squash. This is orange squash. Pumpkin. Yeah. The crazy murder poo poo pee pee ending reminds me of all the crazy ifs from from Horus Heresy novels and about the Emperor's children. I get that reference because my friend is getting me into one of my friends is getting me into the Warhammer.
Most of it, if not all of them.
Orange concentrate? We say from concentrate on some of the bottles. I've never heard it's orange concentrate. Do they serve it in any camps?
Was self-inflicted.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everyone watching. It was there. But no, we just have it as squash. 420 friendly plant. 420 friendly plant. That's true. Why didn't everyone just say 360? Like, you could have used 360 as the special lettuce plant's code name. Like, then you could say, oh yeah, 360 man or 365 man.
The abominable organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscle attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact, but they had been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tracts of all 4
Isn't Kool-Aid the thing that was like the Jonestown massacre where the guy made all of those people drink? Like, that's what I get from it. That's all I really know about Kool-Aid. Or it was actually the rip-off Kool-Aid as well. You know, the guy that had the cult filled with black people and then he mass unalived them. History is awful, man. Human beings are awful.
Be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of the days.
Raid, yeah, which is the knockoff Kool-Aid.
Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but many refused to return to the...
I actually watched, I think it was... Has Wendigoon done a video on it? Was it? I think it might have been Count Dankula did a video on the Jonestown. Jonestown was like really I knew nothing about Jonestown. Was Flavor, yeah, different brand. Yeah, I see. Like, And it's horrific. Like, the audio is still out there. I do not recommend it. I've not been able to get through it. Like, I've not even got like 10 seconds in, because I already know what's on the audio, and I don't want to hear that, because it's like, apparently it's just screaming children. Apparently there's audios from some of the camps in World War II as well, which again I don't want to listen to. Yeah, humans are awful, man. we're such a cruel species. So a 15-foot by 15-foot by 15-foot room has roughly 3,375 cubic feet of volume, 60 pints, the max amount of blood from all 5 subjects has a volume of roughly 1 cubic foot. Why did you maths this? Are you desperately trying to figure out how much pee is in that room? Is that what you're doing?
Chamber to remove the test subjects.
See, this is why, again, humanity, the duality of mankind. On one side, we commit atrocities beyond human comprehension. On the other side, we want to figure out how much pee is in a room. That's why we're brilliant.
They continued to scream to be left in the chamber, and
it's more disgusting than creepy in a way. It makes you feel tainted by proxy. Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his test.
This reads, I constantly flip between loving the history of warfare and hating all humanity. See, I'm very much the same. So I'm very much a pacifist. I don't want people to be hurt. I don't like the idea of war. I understand sometimes it can be necessary. That's just human history. And I am absolutely openly obsessed with warfare, especially the ancient world. The ancient Greeks, etc., 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 etc. The Romans, particularly. I love cavalry. I love the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. I'm a really big fan of cavalry. I think cavalry is really cool. I love a good cavalry charge in a movie. But you have to, like, there's also moments, I think, like, I'm being a bit of a doomer there. I think you need to remember, like, there's moments like the Franz Stigler and Charlie Brown incident. The Franz Stigler and Charlie Brown incident is one of my favourite moments in all of human history, because it's when a very, like, I've got, the video is on my YouTube channel if you want to go into detail. It's pretty old now, I should probably redo it. But what happened was Charlie Brown's plane was very badly damaged. It was very nearly crashed once already. It had like one I think it had like 2 functional engines. Might have only had 1. I'm pretty sure I had 2. Because it was followed by a B-17 Messerschmitt in Franz Stigler's plane, and it was a why have I forgotten the bombers? The American bombers. What are the American bombers called? Flying Fortress B something or other. The Flying Fortress. Charlie Brown's plane was a Flying Fortress, and Franz Stigler went up in the air and saw the plane. He remembered something that his command B-17 Flying Fortress. BF-109 is the Messerschmitt. B-17 is the Flying Fortress. There you go. I got it the wrong way around. So the B-17 Flying Fortress flown by Charlie Brown, and Franz Stigler was behind him in the BF-109 Messerschmitt BF-109. Which obviously, warfare's bad, but again, it shows the duality of history. Messerschmitt's, like, BF-109 is one of the most beautiful fighter planes ever created, alongside maybe the Hurricane, which is a British one. Fun fact: everyone thinks the Germans beat everyone else to jet engines. We had jet fighters at the end of World War II as well. The British did. I'm not sure about the other Allied forces. Where was he? So anyway, Franz Stigler sees him, and he remembers something his old officer said in Africa, which is like, if I ever see you shooting a man in a parachute, I'll shoot you myself, because it's dishonourable. Because there was many people in the German army, not the SS. The SS were vile monsters. There was people in the German army who still lived by the old Prussian ideals of warfare, because Prussia was a militaristic state. It came out of war, and militaristic states tend to have a very strong code of honour, similar like to the Predator, in the Predator movies. Like that's a big thing about military states, is because you're always at war, you need to develop rules about yourself before lest your society goes completely insane. So Francis comes up and he sees how damaged, he sees people already dead, so he decides to like offer them to land so that they can surrender. And they refused, not because they did being brave, but because at the time they believed that that they thought they didn't understand what he was saying. So Franz Stigler then decides to escort the B-17 Flying Fortress all the way to the channel and above. And he pulls back and he makes it look like he's chasing them, so the flak guns don't open fire on this limping B-17. He then turns around, he gives them a salute and departs. And I think that, like, I know I'm going on about how horrific humanity can be throughout history, but I think it also pays that there are moments when we're good, like two soldiers on opposite sides helping each other to survive. The Franz Stigler Charlie Brown incident is probably one of my favourite moments of history, in opposition to the other being the time the Dutch ate their Prime Minister alive. I have some weird favourite moments. What's another more hope core end of humanity? There's actually a lot from World War II. Like, you had, Schindler's List. My dad may watch that when I was very young to really instill in me, like, not because in, like, humanity is capable of great horrors, but it's also capable of being very noble. We are a species capable of great evil, but we're also capable of great good. And I think that's the wonder of humanity. The duality of man is perhaps, in my opinion, the most true statement ever. Like, as I say, there is two things guaranteed, and apologies again for my vulgar language, is about to happen. But throughout human history, it can be summed up in two words, or maybe three. Is that the history of man is simply us fucking or fighting. And that's the history of mankind. But yeah, nice little tangent there.
Testicles ripped off, and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 other soldiers lost their lives if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of a morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arms of one of the doctors, when the heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out.
Cavalry is very cool to remember how bad horses stink up close. It's a shameful thing to admit for a Cossack, but I can stand the smell.
To the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to...
Cavalry's a cool one to remember, like, a lot of horses died fighting our wars. Sorry, we're not going back to the press.
Scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and repeating the word more over and over, weaker and weaker, until he fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had been given him to prepare him for the surgery.
Tough Jiggly. Okay, I'm going to read this out. The human male bladder can hold up 23 ounces for 700 millilitres. For 5 men, that's 115 ounces of 3.5 litres. That only adds 0.2 cubic feet, already 1 cubic foot of blood. Why did you... You know that the YouTube chat is saved by YouTube, right? A short story called The Challenge, the short story called The Challenge from Beyond comes to mind. Only human will control depraved human nature. Yeah.
He fought furiously against his restraints
Maths.
when the
I was very bad at maths. But yeah, no. Andre, that's it. There's really a brilliant story about AI actually that comes in which I have no mouth and I need to scream. but it also sort of sums up the end point of humanity. Human nature can be absolutely utterly depraved, but it also shines out, like Saint Valentine, for example. Romans ban marriage. Saint Valentine stands up for it. Like, I think Christianity is actually a very good sign of duality in man. Like, the amount of charity work and like helping people that it does, but at the same time you have at the same time you have the Crusades. And if you really want to get mad at Christianity, you do the Northern Crusades, because the Northern Crusades are completely unjustified. You can argue that they had justification to do the Crusades against the Islamic world, because the Islamic world had been doing jihad against them. So there was like that societal press, like especially back then, like society's imprinted, like you remember things a lot longer. We're already completely forgetting the impact of World War II. We're calling both political sides are calling everything fascist. Whereas back then you had a lot more. The Ottomans were the enemy of Europe, which is why everyone hated France, because the French decided to ally with them. But the Northern Crusades, in my eyes, are worse. Both, ideas like slaughtering innocents, and normal things that happen when you take a city, rape and pillage. Northern Crusades were worse, mine, because they were just a bunch of pagans just chilling in Eastern Europe. It's the same as I always say, World War One was worse for soldiers fighting, World War Two was worse for civilians. Yeah. This live stream's been a weird one.
Anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch thick wide leather strap on one wrist, even through the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken.
There was less oxygen in the gas mixture. Wasn't there less? Am I going mad? Wasn't there less oxygen in the gas mixture already? Which would mean that how has he tripled? Wouldn't they need more oxygen? I thought they were also annoyed about the gas being removed, which means they don't want to breathe. Flat Earthers believe this, by the way.
Broken 9 bones in the struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them. The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head, yes, when someone suggested, reluctantly, that they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon proceeding stated repeatedly that it should be medically impossible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers.
It's a weird kink thing. It's a weird kink thing. This entire story is just a weird German-Russian dominatrix story.
When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and paper fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting.
I just had a therapy session earlier, so I need a little decompress. Getting therapy was probably one of the best things.
The other 2 tests.
I don't understand how this is. Then again, this is the Flat Earthers. So I probably shouldn't be shocked. The fact that this is even remotely considered believable to them. I also like that if you think about that, the Twitter video we watched at the start, the very start of the live stream, they take out the most preposterous parts of the argument to make it sound more plausible. And I think that's what they do with Flat Earth, is they self-isolate the bits they don't understand. Like, it's a common misunderstanding of science and the universe, and they self-edit out the bits that like are clearly wrong, are clearly dumb. Like, there's a very famous case of a flat earther where he built a device, or he bought a device that was meant to observe the rotation of the Earth as it orbited the sun, and the obviously day-night cycle. They then obviously got the results that it does in fact rotate and orbit. So they isolated it in a tube, and again, every single time they upped the level of intensity and the security on these measurements, and each time the rotation and the curvature and the orbit was proven, until they eventually, I think they were like planning on sending one to space. Yeah, I'll let that sink in. But yeah, like I've gone over a lot of the flat Earth experiments before. The story is just impossible anatomically. You can't properly remove your arms without the chest musculature. Exactly. There's a lot of this story that is just so clearly fake. Without your internal organs, you can survive for a little bit of time. There was actually forms of like old torture where they'd take out your organs one by one. You wouldn't really go until they took your heart out. You can't survive for 5 days without them though. You can have like your insides, like your lower half missing for a few hours, and if you haven't bled out, if somehow you could remove someone's organs and have them not bleed out, they're probably going to survive for a few hours. But eventually, they're going to starve themselves. As long as you keep their heart in place, and hypothetically, they should stay alive for a while. But 5 days? Yeah. In order to get 4 inches of liquid, oh no. In a 15 by 15 room, you would need fluid volume of 75 cubic foot. That means that they would have 75 cubic feet of water added to 73.88 cubic feet water added to chamber for reference. 78. I love the fact that me asking the innocent question of I wonder how much of that is pee is also really helping to disprove this story. Flat earthers are going, our weakness was urine.
Subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralysed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bounds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: I must remain awake. All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious that, at this point, all 3 were putting up a great struggle.
You can't achieve 6 bajillion with 5 bladders over 5 days, however the math is memed. This is why math should be taught as a soothing task and not a stressful one. Exactly. Simple maths debunks the Russian sleep experiment. Actually, like, I'm gonna. I can't be asked to put 2 polls up on 2 different platforms. But like, just a quick show of hands in the comments. Who actually believes the Russian sleep experiment happened? Please tell me it's just the flat earthers. I need to actually speak to a flat earther. I just need to. Also, has anyone noticed the weird Pistolian is my new favourite word. It is brilliant. Has anyone noticed that the flat earthers and the Holocaust deniers tend to overlap? Yes, Harry, what is your question?
To stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might. First left, then right, then left again, for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow.
Slightly worried if I got some yeses on there. But yeah, no, there's no physical way this happened. And I know I'm obviously being overly critical for the memes because obviously flat earthers, but like, I have no words. I'm running out of bed. I'm actually running. I need to look into something properly good at some point, or have like a. I might do. I do need to do a flat Earth one. History did. Maybe another time I'll answer that question. Math can be fun if you're doing it for something you enjoy. If I was trying to find, we must know now. Listen, I've read that comment. It's fine. Math can be fun if you're doing it for something you enjoy. It was fun trying to find out the volume of the oil tanker. I'd be bored out of my gourd. But how much urine would be need to fill the room? No, exactly. That's what I mean. So basically, what's happening is either they're spilling a decent amount of water, or the people are just continually peeing, and there's another liquid we didn't think about. What percentage of the room is blood, urine, and semen? Because we've established this is a weird kink thing that the flat earthers are in. This is why the flat earthers are into it. I wonder if this is why what the flat earthers use all of their what did the flat earthers? Yeah, sorry, the TikTok comments. My mod on TikTok is saying things I can't say out loud. I'm really glad there's no guest. There's actually a fun fact in one of the videos. I'm not going to say which, when I'm talking to a guest. You can actually see me smiling as I look at the comments, and it's purely because I'm getting some interesting things from my mod being said to me, and I'm really fighting the urge to laugh. But yeah, let's finish this off.
Low and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired to the EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal, most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal, as they focused on paper, scrolling.
Hang on, wait. I know it's probably the dodgy footage.
Death.
I can't zoom in. That's annoying.
It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death.
That tank there, does it look like it has legs? I know there's soldiers sitting on them, but it looks like it's walking.
Before returning to normal, as they focused on paper.
Oh, that's weird. There's probably a very easily way to... History asking, yeah, no, that's what platform. Did Julius Caesar, you spelled that wrong. Julius Caesar is spelt the exact same way. It's that it's got an I at the start instead of a J. It's still got the C at the start. Julius Caesar did not listen to that person, which you're trying desperately to get me to say so you can clip it. A lot of crackpot stuff reflects repressed fantasies of its proponents. Going back to Trip, an isolation, partial connection with UFO and probings. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff, like there is a lot of crossover between the flat earthers and the Holocaust deniers. There's also a lot of crossover between most conspiracy theories end up with some level of anti-Semitism. Like there's conspiracy theories in Japan that have levels of anti-Semitism. Mr. Luton asks, how joke-friendly was ancient Rome? I don't know the answer to your question, so as is the rules, I will Google it. Did the ancient Romans jelk? No, 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 this is not a real... No! Wait, okay. Originating... Jelking is male enhancement. This is not real. Originating centuries in the Arabic regions. Jelking is... No! Homosexuality in ancient Rome. Roman law did not recognise marriage between males. Homophobic. Naughty bastards. No! Oh, of course that's a Reddit. I've heard that the ancient Romans saw large penises as a sign of barbarism. Joking is thought to have originated in early Arabic civilization. If there's any Arabics watching... that sounds really racist, I really apologise. If there's any Arabs watching, apparently joking is not a meme, it's real. And it originated in early Arabic... That is from Vice. But it also won't make it bigger and it will cause erectile dysfunction. Well, that's something about history I didn't think... So far in this live, we've gone from the horrors man can inflict to the good stuff we can do. I want to just finish this video now. I have a really, really weird picture in my head of like various early Arabic civilizations sitting around the table and discussing, what new thing shall we invent today? I really hope that's not real. I really hope that that's just a meme article. Did any of them say April 1st? I'm not looking it back up again. That's in my search history now. Oh, I never considered semen. The average load is 2 to 5 milliliters. So assuming they can orgasm 48 times a day, all 5 would produce 1,200 milliliters per day. That's equal to 0.4 cubic foot or 73 cubic day. And I'm not reading that comment out. This is someone saying Fade France. Right, okay, let's just finish this. We're meant to be debunking the flat earthers. We're not meant to be talking about joking.
Scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut. At the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves...
Fun fact, Odessa is actually named because Catherine the Great was absolutely obsessed with Eastern Roman Empire, and it's one of the reasons the Russian Empire was at war with the Ottomans so much, is because they, Catherine the Great's major ambition was to re-establish the Eastern Roman Empire. It's also why the Russian crown, it has a lot of Roman or Eastern Roman symbolism. It's okay, the YouTube chat can prove the chat made you do it. Do you know what, actually? I think when Aiden's live comes out later today, I think we should all go into Aiden's chat and ask him his thoughts on Jelkin. Don't post as low content. You have mercy on our collective sanity. I like it's being alive. Similar to why I don't talk about the Balkans, I'm not going to talk about Islam for similar reasons. Is that I like being alive. If there's a group that gets very, very touchy about dissecting it, it's the Balkans, Islam, and another one that I'm actually not going to mention because those ones really, I don't want to get in trouble with them. But there is another group that you don't mention in any size, shape, or form. Count Dankula has very publicly said he won't talk about that period in British history. Some people understand why I'm getting at, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to. Yeah, I like living. Can I do more bodily fluid calculations there? Mods, when you have a bait poster. The mods are the bait posters! This is what happens when you let your unhinged friends join this mod. The Russians have a huge thing for small Middle Eastern kids. I actually... fun fact, I actually did know that the Romans had a weird thing about small penises. I liked the fact that one of the most powerful things in the world... someone actually sent me a meme the other day, which was an antiquity and the classical period of Europe. All of the men were femboys. Then we had the Middle Ages when everyone was going crusading and raiding each other and were massive warriors. And now we're back to femboys. I'll leave you with that image because a lot of historical people are about to go, no, wait, why does that make sense?
Immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers.
Yeah, did you know that you ever want each wonder? No, it's because it was in a Roman textbook. It's one of the things. The Romans were obsessed with sex in weird, weird ways. Like, weird ways. Like, the Romans were really obsessed with different, like, yeah. The Victorians also are as well, for being such a, History Daddy, what do you think about Albania? Oh, that's an easy one. If you're gonna like really get me in trouble with the Balkans, you just say who owns Kosovo. That's the question you ask. Go to any history channel, ask them, you know, thoughts on Kosovo, and they will not answer. Have you ever seen the statue of David? Dude was experiencing some shrinkage. I would look it up now for comedic effect, but nudity. Yeah. Josh, why are you asking to be sent that statue image? What are you doing? What's your opinion on Kosovo? Or do... Oh, Skanderbeg! I know a decent amount of Skanderbeg. Skanderbeg, I actually really like Skanderbeg. I was in... Obviously, I'm a big fan of Alexander the Great, and in the... So, obviously, Alexander the Great is Greek. And the North Macedonians claim Alexander the Great, but so do the Albanians. And I was in an argument with an Albanian guy over this, and then he was like, "What do you think of Skanderbeg?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Skanderbeg's really cool." If you know me, I'm a very big fan of the Byzantines, the Eastern Romans, and obviously, you know, anything Greek or Roman. Whoops. The microphone just tried to give me fellatio for some reason. Naughty. I really like Skanderbeg because he went against the Ottomans, and anyone that goes against the Ottomans is fine by me. But yeah, he really did. He absolutely halted the Ottomans in Eastern Europe, almost single-handedly. In fact, the Ottomans didn't push into Eastern Europe until after Skanderbeg died. That's how much power that man had. Skanderbeg, like, I need to do a full YouTube video on him, actually, to be fair. But yeah, Skanderbeg was an incredible military commander. I love the fact that I brought up, there was, like, a couple of Ottoman fanboys going, "Oh, well, after he died, Europe fell immediately." And I was like, yes. That's how powerful he was. That's how much he messed you up. One man in one tiny little country. It's like the scene where the Daleks and Cybermen are talking, and then he goes, "Wait, rewrite image 5 rels," and then Rose turns to the Dalek and goes like, no, they're discussing who it is, and then they go, "The female's heart rate has increased," and Mickey says, "Yeah, tell me about it," and then Rose goes, 5 million Cybermen, easy. 1 doctor, now you're scared. Like, that's the impression I get. Like, the Ottomans are sitting there like, "Oh, we can take on all of Europe," and then they're like, 1 Skanderbeg, now you're scared. Same with the Polish. The Ottomans were kicked, like, when Poland, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and the Austrians teamed up, and the Germans. Ooh! There's a Winged Hussars is the song Sabaton did about that. It's incredible. It's also where my love of cavalry and Winged Hussars and the Winged Hussars comes from. You ever see? I need some trolling ideas. Kosovo belongs. I'm not gonna finish that because that will get clipped. David's statue was constructed when small was the fashionable preference. Yeah, when the Romans were obsessed with small penises, which, I mean, tells me that a bunch of really insecure guys managed to gaslit an entire society. I think the Greeks were also about. The Greeks had preferences of how beautiful your toes were. The ancient Greeks had a massive foot fetish, and I want you to think about that. I have an idea for a pink-haired friend when he mentions fur.
The named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew.
Wait, what?
One of the named 3 immediately. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and
Tarantino is Greek confirmed.
Blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. "I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you," he screamed at the man strapped to the table. "What are you?" he demanded. "I must know." The subject smiled. "Have you forgotten so easily?" the subject asked. "We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment."
Now I understand why the Flat Earthers believe this, because this is probably how Flat Earthers are made. Madness that lurks within you all. Flat Earthers are just, like, locked in a room 15 days and, like, never stop
In your
believing in Flat Earth.
deepest animal mind, we are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out, "So nearly free."
I can't name any other. I like the little button where you can put, like, the different faces and the hearts and stuff, but it gets really annoying when I can't read what people message me. I can't name any other powers like that in all of history. Yeah, exactly. Skanderbeg was absolutely unrivaled. Like, he was one of the greatest. He's a very slept on military commander. Love to see a video on Skanderbeg. Yeah, sure, it will come up sometime. Are we going for another ad break?
The rocket equation. It's a beautiful thing. No astronaut launches for space with their fingers.
Getting a masterclass on. Oh wait, that was the video. Let's have it down again.
So nearly free.
Right. So that's that then. That's Mr. Paulin. I don't think I've pretty much gone over. It's like fairly easy to understand this isn't real, because one, you can't rip out your organs and survive for a prolonged period of time. Two, you can't urinate that much and jizz that much to fill a room and still have any form of being alive. You probably lose your ability to scream long before you would rip out your vocal cords. It's probably possible. Your blood count doesn't increase the amount of oxygen you have when you've had less oxygen. You also wouldn't then demand to be put on gas. Yeah. This is. I don't know. I normally have a nice bit to talk about at the end of these. I don't know what to say. Somewhat off topic. This entire thing's gone off topic because it's like when me and Count did the moon landing video. It's so easy to debunk because we know it's a creepypasta because it's got creepypasta in the title. So I would like to know, why do people think that I just want to evidence that the Russian evidence for the Russian sleep experiment. Yes, flat earthers, I know. I'm using Google. Story recounts an experiment in 1947. Blah 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 blah. It's a creepypasta. The truth about the story goes, Soviet era believe many soldiers. Right, here we go. Men's Health magazine, which is a very good gym magazine. The story goes, 15 days. Is the Russian sleep experiment actually true? According to video and infographics channel, which provides the animated summaries, events in history, current events, the Russian sleep experiment almost certainly has basis in fiction. For one thing, there's the fact that the story's sole original source seems to be a website dedicated to telling creepy made-up stories, but even science doesn't hold up. Experts are quick to refute this myth as well. There is no scientific ground proving that gas, or any other substance for that matter, can keep a person awake for 30 days, or 15 to 30 days, depending on the story that you're listening to. It says Po Chang Su, MD. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your name. An internal medicine physician, a medical center on the expert at Sleeping Ocean. Some drugs and high caffeine doses may grant a couple of days without shut-eye, but 30 is impossible. I don't believe in the term impossible. There's probably some way to do it. We just haven't discovered it yet. Additionally, this experiment is unlikely because of the effect of sleep deprivation on the brain, Dr. Sue says. Even after a few days, a person can start hallucinating, which would make it extremely hard for them to perform simple daily actions, let alone deal with military assignments that require extreme focus. So how long can someone truly stay awake? The current documented world record stone rate is a bit longer than 11 days, which was achieved by Randy Gardner in 1963. Gardner experienced severe behavioural and cognitive changes during those 11 days, even though he wanted to prove that nothing bad happened when the person doesn't sleep. Dr. Sue says he also experienced mood swings, memory issues, severe difficulty focusing, paranoia, and hallucinations. That's because you can't actually build up any memories while awake. You need to sleep. That's also where people short-term memory loss comes. Steve, you're back. So we finished the video, and it got to the bit where they were ripping out their organs and stuff. And yeah, we had a deep talk about we had a very deep talk about like the duality of man and how we've committed really horrible atrocities throughout history. But also we did the Franz Stigler Charlie Brown story. Tough Jiggly has been doing the maths on how much, because they found a load of blood in the room, or liquid in the room. We was figuring out how much of it was blood, piss, and jizz. Mr. Luton came on and asked me about what was the Romans' thoughts on jelqing, and we discovered that jelqing was invented by Arabs in ancient Arabic society. I don't know what to do with this information. We then discovered that the Romans preferred small penis. Well, I already knew that, and then everyone was judging me for denying that. And then we looked into ancient Greeks' foot fetishes. Anything to get away from the fact flat earthers believe this. And now we're just looking over the actual Men's Health. So this is like scientifically based. look into it. So yeah, the longest you can do it is, but with extreme pressure, is mental days. He also, Dr. Seuss says, while there is some truth to the claims that amphetamines have been used to keep soldiers alert in historical times of war, the Nazis used meth, or pervitin. There's no scientific evidence of a gas existing that could keep anyone awake for 15 days. And studies have found that just after 48 hours without sleep, people tend to become slower, disorientated, prone to make mistakes, and ultimately less effective as a soldier. Since the brain can't function after being sleep deprived for 11 days, it's safe to assume that things will get much worse if one tries to stay awake longer. He says, consequently, those soldiers would have been useless even if they had miraculously managed to sleep not sleep for 30 days. Still, whoever came up with the story of the Russian sleep experiment in the first place deserves points for their creative writing. Not to admit, I mean, I'm not going to lie, some of the points in that story, I would honestly argue that they shouldn't be, because that was not well written. It was written by a really like an awfully done fan fiction. So my final verdict: flat earthers really need to educate themselves. The Russian sleep experiment is very obviously not real. I already knew that going into it. That like it's not even. It's so easy to debunk. You don't need a degree in any form of mental science to understand that you need sleep to need sleep like to actually survive, because there's a lot of important functions that happen, especially in REM sleep. Yeah. Any questions before I go? Drop them away, guys. Teachers everywhere cheer. Math saved today. There's a teacher going somewhere going, I told you algebra was needed. They should learn the volume of urine, not for any reason. I just want them to know. Exactly, that's the point. The fact that the Russian sleep experiment story could be debunked by Tough Jiggly calculating how much pee and jizz they needed to fill the room in that one detail of the story says everything that you need to know. Besides everyone I've ever known who's experienced intentional sleep deprivation, mostly for work, school has been more goofy than anything. Yeah, I've done it. I regularly do it. I have a horrific sleep schedule. And my close friends can attest, I start going a bit weird. Pardon me. Appreciate over the top, but you have to appreciate the over the top dramatic voice to go read it in. Yeah, Creepy McPasta was like the go-to creepypasta guy for like years. How's he doing now? Like 170k, 300, and that's decent. Oh, he's live now. He's live. What's he live streaming? Live streamception.
Stop! Sure you want to lick the creamy yoghurt from every last inch of lid, but you can't. What will the kids think? Perhaps they'll draw pictures of me and show their parents.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that video. Oh, but up for a VC. Yeah, I'll probably have a VC a bit later. I might try and do a bit more work. How is that allowed? I get in trouble for the slightest bit of nudity, but no. I'm currently researching more weird history events for you. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, guys, if you have any conspiracy theories or weird stuff in history that you would like me to look up, someone's asked me to look up that the Clintons killed JFK. Yeah, look, it's Aiden. Fun fact, Aiden really loves the British Empire and the Redcoats, so if you're in his VC, you should tell him all about the history of the British Empire. He'll absolutely love it. Don't do that. He'll get us on that. But you should also, while you're doing that, you should all send Count the Wonderwall lyrics. He really enjoys it. But yeah. Can't you work alongside VC? It's not. I'm working as an editor now, so it's hard to do. Also, I need to see that. I missed that live. I'm really annoyed that I missed that live. But yeah. Thank you very much. The Great Chimp Walk beat the is that the Göbekli? That's not Göbekli Tepe. That's the sign of that place. Gombe. Hang on. Count Dankula did a video on it. Chimp War. Yeah, the Gombe Chimpanzee War. It's 4 years long. It's literally lasted the same time period as World War One. Thanks for another excellent Sunday evening. Yeah, excellent. And also don't forget the Law Lodge will be live but about midnight. If you want to go and see them. But yeah, there was. I would look into. I would like. You know, I'd happily sit and watch a Count Dankula video for a live, but I prefer doing stuff I can debunk and actually get involved with the chat. This one was a bit off the rails. But yeah, like I say, 10,000, and I will do a back panel on Flat Earth. I might just do Flat Earth on my own, to be fair, but I will do a Flat Earth panel as well at some point. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm really glad that you all enjoyed this one. This was very off the rails. I had a lot of fun laughing at the fact that people believe a creepypasta is real. Yeah, but then again, what do you expect from flat earthers? But I always stand. I don't like to call people right up. And then again, so many of the flat earthers are Holocaust deniers. It's unreal. Like there's a real link. There's a real link. It's not like the ancient aliens or the ancient aliens people particularly. Like a lot of them are just weird. The ancient apocalypse is a bit more iffy, but the flat earthers, there is a real contingent that has some really sus beliefs. But yeah, as always, my good people, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Don't forget to check out Law Lodge later tonight. Also, don't forget to buy Trip's book. The final book comes out in March. Got 12 books altogether. Yeah. See you later, guys. Bye.